Last time we talked to you at spring training, we talked to you about your tattoos, but you were wearing pants.
Oh, God. Here we go. I let out a yelp.
That was a loud yelp.
Dude, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
What's the best war to read about?
B-War. Baseball reference war. Are you a superstitious guy where you're feeling like, hey, I'm flipping this cap inside out and the boys are rallying here?
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing some kind of crazy rally since high school, maybe even before that.
I thought Vito was about to rally cap.
Yeah,
now with that happened.
Why'd you have to point it out? I was getting hot. Hey, it's Vito Calisi and Jonathan Barron from Meet at the Apple, and we're here with Sean Manaea. Sean, I'm just gonna be very straightforward with you. We've had a little beef, a little one-sided beef with you over the last month because we did an interview with you at spring training where we spent about 5 minutes talking to you about your hair in detail, asking you about your routine, like telling us, like just really going in on it.
Yeah.
And then I'm on Twitter 2 days later and I see you've cut it before we even release it.
Yeah. Sometimes in life, you just got to change things up, and that was one of those things. And, it was a fun run, but, I'm kind of happy.
Isn't it much better the first time? Because I had long hair too, as I told you. The first time you take a shower and you don't have to think about how long it's going to take to dry it.
Yeah.
How good did that feel?
Showering at night was kind of a nightmare because sleeping with long wet hair is like not it. And then I realized how like quickly it dried, and it was like, wow, this is incredible. So
no regrets, right? Like full bore forward. You're happy with the decision?
I am. I mean, there's days where I miss them. Like, man, that was cool, but yeah, for the most part, I'm definitely happy.
And you haven't gotten a haircut since. Like, is this the growth that are we on our way back? Or?
That grows quick, dude.
No, actually,
You're like Wolverine.
I've gotten like 3 haircuts.
Really?
I'm a big haircut guy now, so
all right.
There's always a barber here, so makes sense. And all the guys here are looking fresh, so I'm like, all right, I might as well start, catching up to the boys. So we're here.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So a lot's happened since the last time we chatted with you. Your hair and your look in general has changed, but you've also had some starts as a Met. So how has your time been in New York? Obviously, we were in PSL, now we're up here. How have things been so far?
It's been great. The atmosphere here, every game has been incredible. The games that I've pitched, kind of pitched in some cold weather, pitched in California, which is not cold, and home road starts has been great so far. A lot of stuff's happened, but overall I'd say it's been solid. Definitely a lot of work to do, but I'm happy where we're at right now.
So I was at your start in LA. I was lucky enough to go to that game, and I was actually sitting right in front of a friend of yours, Ryan, who you played with in Oakland. And Ryan was really cool guy. It was really fun sitting with him talking for a little, and he was just going on about how incredible of a person you are, about how in every clubhouse you go into, you're immediately a clubhouse favorite. And is that something that you realize, or is that just something that you don't even take notice of?
I'm not trying to be like...
It's a weird thing. I feel like you're like, I don't want to say everybody likes
I'm the
me.
man and everyone knows it.
Yeah, I'm the greatest. No, I don't really go into a new clubhouse and wanting to like win over guys. I kind of realized a while ago that I just got to be myself, and trying to impress people or trying to like win over people isn't really like me or anything like that. So
It's just natural.
Yeah, if you like me, great. If not, then also great.
If
Like we could be.
I hate them.
No, I mean, there's definitely going people that do that, and that's totally fine. We can be professional and all that, but I just try to be myself, and I think that's kind of what happens. So hearing that is great, but I'm not just trying to be everyone's favorite person.
Well, you've definitely won the fans over, and the fans have caught on to a little fun you've had on the top step of the dugout, and that's the rally cap. First noticed it game 2 of the doubleheader against the Tigers, and it worked.
Yeah.
You had it on Sunday, the finale against the Cardinals, and it worked. So is that a thing that you've done in the past? And are you a superstitious guy where you're feeling like, hey, I'm flipping this cap inside out, and the boys are rallying here?
Yeah. I feel like I've been doing some kind of crazy rally since high school, maybe even before that.
I thought Vito was about to rally cap.
Yeah,
now with that happened.
Why'd you have to point it out? I was getting hot.
Yeah. No, any way I can, help the boys, change the momentum or anything like that, I'm going to try to do. And I definitely think there's you can switch things up, and sometimes it works. Obviously, most of the time it doesn't, but when it does, it's really cool. And I got Beatty in on it, and things obviously turned out well yesterday, so it was awesome.
Do you know where the rally cap comes from?
The origin of it?
Yeah.
No.
Was it a movie?
No, it's the Mets.
Who started it?
The Mets started. I believe the '86 Mets started the rally cap.
Really?
It was a Mets.
Really?
It was a Mets built thing.
Well, I know Keith
Interesting.
Hernandez went to Davey Johnson's office in Game 6, and he was superstitious. And he was sitting in Davey's seat, and the Mets were down. I don't know if you know the story about the Buckner ball, but they were down to their final out. Red Sox had won the World Series. Keith went into the office, and there were 2 singles, and he's like, "I'm not getting up. This chair's got hits in it." And one thing led to another, and a banner went up. So that's it. I didn't know that.
The rally cap
We're
started
all
here.
learning
Yeah.
things
So
right now.
Nice.
yeah, that's one of my favorite things. 'Cause I'm a superstitious guy, and I like the rally cap as well.
Yeah. What are your stats with the rally cap so far?
I think we're like 2 and 3, or maybe like 2 and 4.
2 out of 4. So like you've done it
2 out
4
of 4.
times and two successes.
Yeah. The Tiger game and yesterday, and then I think I tried it maybe like San Francisco or something like that. But I mean, those 2 times that it didn't work, I wasn't like fully invested in it. I put it on, but I wasn't like, it's all, you got to feel it too. It's like a feel thing, I just did it just to do it, but I wasn't like, oh, this is going to work, like putting that good juju out there.
So last time we talked to you at spring training, we talked to you about your tattoos, but you were wearing pants.
Oh God, here we go.
You were wearing pants when we talked about your tattoos. Then today we're getting ready, and I look over at your leg, and you have the DOODLEBOB tattoo right there.
I let out a yelp. I wish that it was on camra. I'm a big SpongeBob guy. Dude, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Tell us about it.
So me and my brother, SpongeBob came out in '99. I would have been like 7, so like right in the wheelhouse of like, my childhood. And the first like 6, 7, 8 seasons were incredible. I love the movie. Just huge SpongeBob fans growing up. And then we always talked about tattoos, and I always wanted, a Samoan tattoo. And then my brother went to the military, and we always talked about like, how cool it would be to get a SpongeBob tattoo. And he came home for a month, and after like 7 years of being away, and we were like, I think it's time. And then we went with our dad, and we asked if he wanted to get it done, and he was like, no, you guys are, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But
I understand.
Brothers are going to be brothers, and we got him done, and he's got his on his right ankle, and definitely the most talked about tattoo. I would say.
So, what is your favorite SpongeBob episode of all time? If you could give us one, I've got one that sticks out to me.
The one that's sticking out right now is when they're on. Oh my God, what's the ghost? When he's on the ship.
Davey Johnson?
When they're backing it up, he's like, "You're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
Keep going.
Perfect." And the whole side is like scratched
That'll
off.
buff right out. And they're trying to escape, and they go through the perfume aisle, and Patrick almost dies because he.
Yeah, because he's getting spritz left and right.
Yeah, that one's hilarious.
I'm a big fan of the soda drinking hat. He was number 1.
Yeah.
The floating shopping
Schmitty
list.
Werben Jaegerman
Yes,
Jensen.
yes. Doodlebob is a great episode also when Patrick gets bowled over and he yells, "Finland!" It's a good one. Do you have a SpongeBob? You have either a Patrick or a SpongeBob or a Squidward impersonation we could hear?
No, I'm terrible at impersonations.
right.
I don't want to put anybody through that. So
I'm a more pickles. Pickles.
Oh, more
Like,
pickles.
more pickles.
Oh, I mean, it's such a quotable show.
Yeah.
Like I'm 32, Vito's 31, so we're all in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah.
How could you not be in this age group, growing up here and not be a giant SpongeBob fan? So we're going to try to work some SpongeBob into maybe your next start. Some sound effects.
Would you like that?
yeah, I would love that.
Would you like that after strikeouts?
Sure,
Dude,
Why
last
not?
year, the Pirates were in town, so obviously the Pirate that starts the show.
Yeah.
So we did a bunch of SpongeBob drops. Johan Oviedo was on the mound, and he balked. And we did the... He stepped off the rubber because he was laughing so much.
No.
I'm not kidding. It was the greatest thing ever that we were able to impact. I
That's
mean,
incredible.
I don't want to say
I probably would do the same thing. If I
it
were
was
him.
great. So all right, we'll work some in.
Yeah, please.
I heard you also like anime a lot. Is that true?
I used to like Toonami back in the day.
Oh man, it's crazy that we're just the same age, so we just all have the same reference points.
I'm out on this one. Like
Yeah.
when the anime conversation comes out, I'm just like,
But
all right,
Toonami,
I'll wait for my Islander question.
I used to love yeah, like coming home and like Dragon Ball Z was always on after school, and
Who's your favorite Dragon Ball Z guy?
probably say, I mean, Goku. He's the, you know, he's
You and
he's
Savvy,
the boy.
have you and Savvy talked about your Dragon Ball Z fandom?
No, we haven't. I didn't. I mean, I
He
I've
lit
been
up.
watching. Yeah, did he?
He
I
lit
haven't
up
watched
with-
it so
yeah.
long. My brother's a big anime fan, so he lived in Japan for a couple years. So he
Did you visit him?
No, I went to somewhere else, but I wish I would have visited him while I was in Japan. Visit him in Spain though, which was cool. But
Oh, how's Spain?
amazing.
What'd you like?
The food, the weather. Barcelona, Madrid were beautiful, but he was down in Rota, which is like the southern tip of Spain, and I don't know. He just hung out and had a good time. You know.
Did you go to see a soccer game when you were there?
Nah, I wish, but where Rota was, you know, we spent the majority of the time there. Only a couple days in like Barcelona, Madrid, and I don't think they were playing at that time. So
Well, speaking of sporting events, you, Brandon Nimmo, and Drew Smith attended Game 3 of Islanders Hurricanes Round 1. So, you know, in New York, we have actually 3 teams because you got to count the Devils. They're a franchise here as well. So, you know, there's the Met fandom, the Met conglomerate of fans. It's split.
Yeah.
So what was the experience like? And did anyone after the fact say to you, hey, maybe you should check out perhaps the Garden or maybe Prudential Center?
yeah, I've been told a lot that I should go to
sure you have.
go to the Garden, but you know, the Islanders were awesome. We had a great time. We got to sit right down on the ice in the second period, and they scored 2 goals like right in front of us, and that was probably the coolest thing ever. And yeah, just had a great time. I thought it was a fun time, but I didn't really realize how split.
You're forgiven.
Yeah.
You're forgiven.
I'm not from here. Please forgive me.
You're forgiven.
What's Brandon Nimmo like at a hockey game?
He was getting into it. Yeah, I mean, he was all about it. So it was,
Yeah.
it was
It's a
fun.
great environment. Islander fans are awesome. A lot of them are Mets fans, so that makes sense. And
Yeah. The same colors. That's the connection I see. So I was like, why wouldn't you guys be?
it's a
fans
Long
of
Island
each-
thing, but we don't have to get into
It's
the
also
geography
it's
of
the
it.
New York flag.
Is that why the Islanders took? I know the Knicks have orange and blue. 'Cause
Orange
the
and
New York
blue's the New
flag.
York flag. I'm just guessing. I mean, like-
NYCFC also.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
I would just guess if you were gonna like do it. You know.
Yeah.
Do you know why the Mets are orange and blue?
because of the flag.
No, because
Giants
the
and
Dodgers
Dodgers.
blue and the Giants orange.
They're the children of the National League teams that abandoned New York back in the 50s.
No way.
Yeah, you
Dude,
know that?
we like to
No.
teach here.
Thank you.
We told Brandon Nimmo stats, and we're just giving you Mets history.
Yeah, I'm all about history. So yeah, the more you can.
Are you a
add.
big history guy?
Yeah.
What's your favorite war?
Oh my gosh. We asked
I
Nate
mean-
Lavender this in spring training.
None of them, I guess. Cause
No,
they're-
not
war
like
is bad.
I don't
Yeah.
mean
My
like
man's a pacifist.
I don't mean
here.
like what's the best war. I just mean like what like as a history guy, like what's the best war to read about?
B War. Baseball reference war.
That's good. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything off the top of my head.
All right. Well, you know what? Next time we talk, we'll go over just a war. That'll be the whole episode. We'll just
All right.
talk about war.
War
But-
of 1812, folks.
Sean, thanks so much for doing this again, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah.
And you can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We need subscribers.
Have you subscribed
I
yet,
did.
Sean?
I have not, but I will.
All
You-
right.
I hope you do, and I hope everybody else does. Thanks for listening. Leave those YouTube comments, and we'll see you next time at the Apple. Hey, what's up? It's Meet at the Apple. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron, and the Mets played 2. And John, would you call that a sweep? Because it was just 2 games.
Yeah, it's a sweep, and the Mets are back. Vito, we talked about this when they went to Atlanta,
I know, but
and they
if-
had a game rained out. And what did we call it? I
We
think we
call-
argued with people
we did.
online about this.
That was that they won the series.
Oh, they lost one of those games. That's right. That was a 4-game series.
That was a
that's correct.
4-game series, and the
Yeah.
argument was that they won the series.
Hey, they're
But
back
they
to-
did win. I mean, if it was a 2-game series, it would have been a sweep.
Yeah.
So it's a sweep. They won both games. They won all of the games they went into. But here's the thing. In Atlanta,
Yeah.
they're going back, and that was a 2-game series that they're now going to play 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to St. Louis to just play a game at some point.
I know, but okay, let me ask you this question. The Phillies are coming to town after the Braves this weekend.
Yeah.
For 2 at Citi Field.
Yeah.
Then the 2 teams are getting on the Turnpike, shout out New Jersey, and are going to Philadelphia for 2.
Yeah.
I would call that 2 separate 2-game series. If the Mets win the first 2 or the second 2, whichever order, maybe all 4. That is 2 individual 2-game sweeps. So yes, this is a sweep, and yes, the Mets are back because we talked on Sunday, which was sort of a melancholy episode.
You're taking interesting pauses.
Thank you. There was no need to be melancholy, really, because we knew that the Mets had done a lot of good things, and they came up short, and over 162, you lose the 1-run game. here. You win the 1-run game there. And the Tide turned their way here in this series. They win a close game on, what was it? I don't even know what today is. Today's Wednesday. So it was Monday night that they won.
Today's Wednesday.
Yeah, so they won a 4-3 game on Monday. And then on Tuesday, they win a 2-run game. So they took care of business. I didn't want to say it on Sunday night's episode because I don't want to jinx and get ahead of myself. But the Mets are better than the Cardinals. They are.
You said that earlier in the year too.
Yeah, they are. And, they lost 2 of 3 at home against the Cardinals, and they had to take care of business with St. Louis in St. Louis, and they did. So Mets fans should be happy, back at 500, coming home, and now a big challenge awaits with the Braves for 3 and the Phillies for not 4, but 2 and 2.
And, I feel weird but that Sean Manaea interview we played earlier in the episode was perfect time to play that episode.
Yeah.
Love talking to Sean. Love talking SpongeBob to Sean.
My mind was blown. I mean, I wish it was on camera when we actually found out and discovered the DOODLEBOB tattoo in real time.
I mean, is it weird that I just was like looking at?
Yeah, you're looking at his. I was
looking
his
at his
shins.
You know what it was? It was just that we talked to him so much about his tattoos, as we mentioned in the interview, that when I noticed that he was just had any sort of tattoo on his leg, I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on. And it's so different because he has the traditional Samoan tattoo on his arm that like a stick figure really pops on his ankle, shin, leg area. But that was a really fun interview. Talking to Sean was great. He's a guy that I think we'll end up doing a few with him throughout the season. I think that's safe to say. I think he enjoyed us.
I'm sure, and he's been really good. His last 4 starts, including his start in St. Louis, a 2.61 ERA, and in the span, and we talked about this after his start in San Francisco, a bend but do not break guy, and Sean mentioned that to us as well. During the span of his last 4 starts, opposing hitters are 3 for 18 with runners in scoring position against them. So he's been effectively wild in a way, changing the eye level of hitters, making pitches when he has to, but he's been effective. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. The 2.61 ERA, like I mentioned, over the last 4 starts, he has done a good job preventing runs, even when the opposing team has put runners on against him. And yes, he is an absolute legend for having a DOODLEBOB tattoo, which is not what some just fair weather SpongeBob fan does. You get a DOODLEBOB tattoo when you are a diehard. You can name different lines from that episode and many episodes.
Yeah.
We asked him what his favorite episode was, and he was pulling multiple. So, I mean, Sean, that's a whole new level of respect. And he's also just so much fun in the dugout and interacting with fans. Like, he is an absolute vibe and a half.
So my favorite thing I saw on Twitter today was one fan mentioned that when she was at the game, she was sitting behind the Mets dugout, and she noticed during the cap shuffle that Sean jumped up, threw up a 1, guessing that the cap that the logo, the ball was under, was cap number 1. Mm-hmm. And then when it was actually cap number 2, he was furious. Not furious, but noticeably frustrated. And it's just that kind of energy that somebody brings to a clubhouse, which you talked to him about. He's a big clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
Constantly gets picked up on SNY. Like, I think the other day he was pretending to be like a DJ.
Talked about the rally caps.
We talked about the rally caps with him. So like it was just a really fun interview and a really fun conversation with him. Another fun talk we had this week was Christian Scott, who we spoke to yesterday.
Yes, check it out.
And that is out right now. Christian will be starting Saturday, it looks like.
We'll see. Yeah, we have no idea what the Mets are going to do with their pitching.
I saw on Twitter. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Who tweeted it?
I think it was Tim Healy.
Okay, I buy that. By the way, Tim Healy also just moments ago. We're recording this. I know you hate when I do this.
I just want to make clear, I'm saying that I saw this on Twitter. Like, this could have been an official thing for the press conference that ended, but we just literally, the second the game got called, we just ran downstairs pretty much, and we're like, let's just start doing an episode.
Yeah, it's 4:50 p.m. right now. Tim Healy also just tweeted a picture of Busch Stadium, and it's crystal clear blue skies right now.
That's baseball, Susan.
No, I think another storm is rolling behind.
That's what's happening, and I believe it's like lightning and thunder, and
it's tornadoes.
Rain is never the problem.
Have you ever been in a tornado warning? The answer is absolutely not, right?
No.
Yeah,
oh yeah, you went to Indiana, so I'm guessing that happened.
Well, the sirens are going off. Too much Indiana talk.
I mean, hey man, you read the reviews.
You're the one. Hey, you brought it up, not me.
But I'm saying you're bringing it up because you lived there, and there were.
I was in the Midwest. We don't have to specify states.
Were there tornadoes?
Oh,
in unknown state
in the Midwest.
You went to college?
Yeah, I mean, like the tornado chasers, whatever, storm chasers.
Yeah.
You know, the Omaha baseball team, the Royals AAA affiliate, Omaha Storm Chasers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're in Nebraska. But yeah, I mean, it's throughout the Midwest, and It's scary being a Northeast boy.
I bet.
And living there for the first time and hearing a tornado siren go off, and you're just like, what in the holy heck is happening?
My buddy lives in Nashville, and he was just telling me about, like, he has a backyard where there's, like, glass everywhere, and he's like, because he rents. So he's like, oh, yeah, we rented the house.
But
and
why
like,
would anyone make anything out of glass in living in Tennessee where...
Yeah, he's like, there was such a bad tornado the year before that, like, glass got all over the yard.
Oh, I thought you meant that, like, they built a greenhouse or something back there.
No, glass got all over the yard, and it's just like they have a dog, and it's just too risky to let the dog run around because, like, there's remnants of glass out there.
Oh, heck no.
And, like, just him telling me about how, like, a lot of them don't have basements, I think, like, a lot, or second floors.
The second floor, absolutely.
Yeah,
you don't
a lot
want
of
that.
houses in Tennessee and stuff like
yeah,
that.
you don't build up when you're in a tornado alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's tornado talk on Meet at the Tornado.
Well, let me ask you this question. The Knicks are playing. We can talk about the Knicks a little bit, right? Topical.
Yeah, we can talk about the
I
Knicks.
mean, come on, guys. Like, we got the Rangers rolling. We got the Knicks trying to win game 2 against who? Who are the Knicks playing?
The Pacers. Oh, we're talking about Indiana.
There you go. So it's topical, guys. It's all fun, you know? I mean, what a week on Monday and Tuesday. Monday, you got the Mets running adjacent to the Knick game. Tuesday, you got the Rangers running adjacent to the Knick game, or the Met game, I should say. And for me, my system is I got the laptop, I got the iPad, I got the TV, and I kind of, it depends on what the night is. I'm going back and forth.
I have a mount for my iPad.
Okay,
that
so
attaches to my side table.
Okay.
And
so
it
it's
has
a little
bendy
TV. It's a
arm.
little screen.
So it comes up so I can have the TV up here.
Yeah.
And then I have the iPad here.
Yeah.
I normally don't do it for 2 sports unless it's like really a big thing.
But what are you doing? Watching a TV show in a sporting event?
No, usually I have to concede space to my loved one because I can't have the TV 162 nights a year.
That's fine, but what about when there's multiple big sporting events on the watch?
I have done that. I did that. For example, I did that with WrestleMania this year. I had WrestleMania up on the TV. I had the Mets game on
like
the side.
right now, and this is going to be our social media question of the night on Friday. If you're at the ballpark, tweet your answers to hashtag Mets pregame. Get involved in the show. What's your strategy for watching the Mets while big playoff games are going on? And right now in New York, it's every single night.
Dude, I bring up my buddy Gabe all the time on
the
show.
It's fine.
My favorite thing I've made fun of Gabe forever.
Saying that tickets are too expensive in Raleigh for game 3 when they're really not. Dude, $130. Like, come on, garden prices. Come on, Gabe.
So I used to make fun of Gabe for this all the time. Before his now wife moved into his apartment, he had 2 TVs in his living room. And I
Ball or move.
I called him Buffalo Wild Wings.
No, that's, dude, my friend Scott, he used to live in Hoboken. I was in Jersey City. And on nights like this, I would go there because he had the 2 TV setup. So what we would do
What was his? His was one on top of the other.
No, they were next to each other.
And he used it to play. He used a lot of time. It was 2 sports.
One on top of the other is no good.
He was Rangers Knicks.
Yeah.
He was a Rangers Knicks guy.
Yeah.
But also he was a video game while watching baseball guy.
So Scott had that. Scott had the Xbox on one and either the Mets or the Rangers on the other. Stacking them vertically, no good. It does something the eyes don't see as well.
No, I don't like any of it.
No, left and right is better because you can really kind of choose. You could shift from left to right, up and down. Not for me. Yeah. But the 2 TV move, ball or move. I mean, you know, if you...
I wish picture-in-picture is like, it doesn't really exist anymore.
No, because it was a garbage technology.
It's actually not.
Yes,
it's actually not.
Yes, it is.
It's actually not.
Why?
What do you mean? Well, the same thing we're talking about. If you have a 65-inch TV, picture-in-picture, baseball bat, like, it's fine.
Yes, but now with laptops, with iPads, even with cell phones, you're not really going to use the PIP.
I'm just saying you could. It's a feature that I feel like has been disregarded.
It died. Picture-in-picture died because no one used it because you weren't doing justice to whatever was in the small box. Now, Fubo TV, shout out Fubo, although...
Split screen?
So, no. Well, you could do a quad box.
I like quad box.
Or you could do the 2 box, which is cool as well. Although the entirety of the screen isn't taken up. But you could do 2.
I would do quad. I would like a quad box.
Quad's cool.
Cable.
The tough thing about quad is you got to choose what volume you want on. So like in college football season, it's great. Or NFL, you can't really do it.
On the radio show I used to work on, they used to do a giveaway on Twitter on Red Zone every weekend, where first time the quad cam came up, if you tweeted quad cam and you were the first person, you won a prize.
What was the prize?
It was
a TV that had the picture-in-picture feature on it?
It would be a different thing, like a different just prize every week. But like if you were the first person to tweet about the quad cam when the second the quad cam went up on Red Zone, you would win.
Yeah.
All right, but
that's pretty cool. Hey, it's just an exciting time right now. There's so much.
This is a pretty sick 2 nights in St. Louis, though, and I do want to bring up one thing. I called the Brandon Nimmo home run.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh.
You know why? It was such a silly reason, but when Brandon Nimmo came up, I don't know why, I flashed back to 2022 and that game where the Mets like came alive and like the season started off hot, where they came back.
I think it was April 25th, 2022.
And if you remember, the Mets were like in a rally.
Yeah.
They went to commercial. They tied the game, went to commercial.
They came back.
And then they came back from commercial, and it was midway through.
The ball
Brandon
was like
Nimmo,
in the air,
and it was actually, I think it like just was land, and it was just confusing.
Yeah.
And like I don't know why, but like the second Brandon Nimmo came up, and I was like, yo, the Mets need a big home run here. I was like, Brandon Nimmo, 2022 home run, let's get it. Boom. And it happened.
Yeah, Brandon's been incredibly clutch. We brought this up with Harrison.
We brought this up to Brandon at spring training about just like, where did this power come from?
Right. And now he has 5 home runs. He's kind of got on a little barrage here. He hit the leadoff home run last week. Brandon has not just homered, but he's hit massive home runs. You think about the home runs he hit in Atlanta, and you think about the 2 home runs he hit this week, one of them to give the Mets the lead, the other one, a 3-run ding-dong to tie the game.
Bing bong.
Bing bong, that's right. See, it's fun time. But Brandon is excelling in clutch situations. And there's a statistic that captures the art of clutch. And although I don't personally believe in clutch, and I think it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing. And, you know, it's hard to quantify. Well, actually, we are quantifying it. But the ability to be clutch, I think, is tough to quantify. Like when a team is evaluating a player, it's hard to say, like, yes, he has that clutch gene, or no, he doesn't have that clutch gene. I think it's more like, yes, he's good, or no, he isn't good. But anyway, win probability added, which is a cumulative statistic that each time you, let's say, get a hit and your team's win probability goes up by 25%, you get plus 0.25 to your ledger. Brandon's WPA right now is 1.4, which is tied for the 4th highest in all of baseball. And it's only offensive, at least in this category, and he has been excelling in this area. He has been a very, very, very clutch player. And it's not just this year. It goes back a couple years. Like you mentioned, 2022, the big home run he hit. We remember the walk-off hit he had against the Yankees last year. At the top of the lineup, Brandon Nimmo is nails. And after a slow start to the batting average, he was still getting on base nonstop. He's been great atop the lineup. And we got to talk about Pete Alonso, who had a huge night on Tuesday. And for me, the biggest thing was the double. Him putting that ball to right center field. When Pete Alonso had 53 home runs in his rookie season, when he was going the opposite way and just showing off that country power, right center field like it was easy, that's when Pete Alonso is right. Also, that's when he's right.
Certain players play well against certain teams, and you had to have a feeling that Pete Alonso was going to break open against St. Louis, because historically he's done pretty good against St. Louis. I mean, I know it was at Citi Field, but that was the helmet walk off.
Oh yeah,
that was the helmet walk off.
That was also 2022.
That I told you about when I was on the plane to Italy. I was taking off. The plane started to take off right as Edwin gave up the lead. I didn't know for the next 3 hours if the Mets won, and I was just having panic attacks. Kept asking the flight attendant, "Can you please get my phone on Wi-Fi? My phone's not getting on Wi-Fi." And I just didn't know if the Mets won.
That's an addiction.
And then I just kept looking around.
That's addiction.
I was looking around my plane to see if anybody was wearing a Mets hat, because I was like, maybe somebody's wearing a Mets hat, and I could see if they're happy or sad. And then finally, I got on the internet, and the first thing I did, typed in Mets, saw the score, and then I screamed, "Let's go Mets" on the plane.
This is addiction. But it happened to me when I went on my honeymoon to Greece. 8-hour flight, right? You'd think that like they'd have the Wi-Fi down. No Wi-Fi on a flight that long. You were going to Italy?
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And the stewardess came up the aisle. The Mets were playing Sunday Night Baseball against the Dodgers.
Well, they had Wi-Fi, just didn't connect for a while.
Okay. My plane, I asked the stewardess, I was thinking like, oh, maybe we're not high enough or whatever, altitude-wise. And I asked her,
Would
she
you
goes,
fly Spirit?
No, it was Delta or something like that. And she goes, oh yeah, sorry, Wi-Fi's not working on this flight. And I was just like, it's an 8-hour flight.
Dude, did I tell you my flight to Hawaii, they just didn't have Wi-Fi. Not even.
What'd you fly? Frontier?
I flew Hawaiian Airlines. Like, you would think
Is
that
a
had
thing?
Hawaiian Airlines?
Yeah.
That's like the main one that flies direct from New York to Hawaii.
I've never heard of Hawaiian Airlines.
Hawaiian Airlines is like the main airline that flies to Hawaii.
Like, does American go there or Delta?
They do, but like Hawaiian runs.
I was about to say Continental.
What do you think about your Devils?
I mean, good call. Continental Airlines Arena, shout out.
But no, it's a fun. It was a fun week. I went to Busch Stadium last year. It was the first time I got to see a game there.
You saw Busch? You saw Busch?
Are you going this year?
I think so. Yeah.
You told me you might be going this year, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So I wore a Keith Hernandez Mets jersey. It was Cardinals. It was Cardinals Yankees.
Trying to start problems.
I wasn't. I just I wanted to wear I don't own a Cardinals jersey. I don't own a Yankees jersey.
You should have worn an Aaron Rodgers jersey. They don't have a football team there, so no one would mind.
Yeah, but I thought wearing a Keith Hernandez jersey was like the most respectful thing I could do.
Yeah.
Because he's in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. He won an MVP as a Cardinal.
Yes, he did.
So
co-MVP.
Yankee fans kept screaming at me, and then Cardinals fans would stand up and defend me and say, "Hey, Keith Hernandez was a great Cardinal." You know
Interesting.
how Yankee fans are.
No, I know that you like to poke the bear online with them.
No, dude,
We're not even at Subway Series time yet.
That one guy.
You're talking smack.
That one guy could kick rocks. But it's going to be a fun weekend at Citi Field and a fun.
Oh heck yeah!
And then a 2-day. The Phillies Mets schedule this year is so wonky because of
It's
the London.
2-2.
Yeah, because of the London series.
Yeah, both teams lose a home game, so that would have been possibly threes, but
this is a big week.
it's a big barometer. It's definitely a litmus test for the Mets. I mean, look, the Phillies, and we don't like Philadelphia.
No.
You know, they are off to an incredible start.
Yeah.
They have arguably been the best team in baseball. They've got it all going right now for them. So you know, it's always fun when the two teams get together, and I like this format of 2-2. Phillies fans will come up the turnpike. We'll go down the turnpike.
Oh, I love the back-to-back.
It's really cool.
I love that.
I don't remember this ever happening.
The NBA does this all the time.
Yeah.
The NBA constantly does home away, and not even close.
Well, home and home. Yeah, the NHL does home and home too. But in baseball, I don't remember, especially when it's just like a 2-hour trip.
Yeah.
The Mets and Phillies playing 2 in our park and 2 in their park.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the most that they'll do is they'll go Philly, Miami, and then repeat that the next week. You'll see that sometimes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, familiarity breeds contempt, and let's not overlook the Brave series.
I do think I know. Look, I don't know if are we allowed to talk about schedule making, but I do feel like there should be, when schedules are being made.
Oh, you were talking about this yesterday.
There should be more. No. I'm not even going to bring up that thing. That's a whole other can of worms. But I do think that there should be more thought put into when you're booking away series for teams. The Mets and the Phillies should play some more weekend series because it's an easy trip for a fan to get out to, right?
I
I
guess.
get that you don't want to fill stadiums with opposing fans, but we want to see full ballparks, right?
Yeah.
So you should make accessible destinations on weekends.
Yeah, well, it's gotten tougher now because the teams used to play 18 times a year.
No,
now
you're
it's
right.
only, what is it, 11?
Yeah.
So you've lost a little bit.
But this is a big weekend at Citi Field because we got 2 big giveaways. One of them is this nifty tumbler. And I've had this tumbler on my desk all week, and we've had coworkers coming up to me being like, "Is that the giveaway tumbler?" And
Hey,
I said, "Yeah."
I have a bone to pick with you.
Is it the straw?
Yeah, it is the straw because we had those tumblers on display 2 Sundays ago after the Mets walked it off against the Cardinals. And you had your straw and I didn't. And I said, "Where's my straw?" I didn't know it came with a straw. And you said, "Oh, it's in the box." And I said, "Oh, silly me." I went upstairs. I turned that box upside down. I gave it a good shake.
You should bring that up with former employee of the week, Chloe DeVry,
Yeah, there was no straw in there.
because she gave me the box. And
Is
I
it
just handed to
DeVry
you.
or DeVries? Have you confirmed that?
I haven't.
There was a hockey player, Greg DeVries, played for the Avalanche, defenseman
they're
for the
related?
Rangers. I don't know. That's a good question. If it was like her cousin or something, and I never made that connection before, I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, because
I was a big Greg DeVries guy.
you love making connections like that. But dude, this cup is sick, and it's good quality.
Nice.
It's good quality. And
Keeps
it's got
things
a straw.
cold, keeps things hot.
And it's got a straw.
Well,
And it's got
hopefully
a really,
you get your straw, unlike
and it's
me.
got a straw. And it's got a straw.
You'll get your straw. Don't worry.
And it's just, look, tumblers are in right now. Everybody knows it. And you know what's in? Mr. Met in London. And
He's in the phone booth.
He's in the phone booth, and it opens and closes. So look, you got this. Maybe your loved one, maybe she doesn't like when you have all this Met stuff out. So you know what you do? You close the door on the bobblehead.
Right.
So on days where she doesn't want Met stuff out, that's what your bobblehead
What
looks
does the
like.
bottom say?
London 2024.
Oh, it could be anything.
Could be anything.
It could be a Paul McCartney concert
I mean,
for all
there's
we
a small
know.
Mets logo up here, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And then on days where the Mets are playing, where the Metsies are in town, when you're pumped up on your Mets, you open it up, and then Mr. Met gets to watch the game with you. So, and this is a substantial bobblehead. This is a really good one. Look, the detail. There's a phone. He's on the phone.
I wonder who he's talking to.
Maybe Mrs. Met. He's in London. He's maybe Mrs.
It
Met.
better be Mrs. Met.
Yeah, better be.
It better be. Otherwise,
Because she, I mean, dude, she's getting something. Did you see that the Chicago Bulls?
oh, I saw what Benny said. Benny, if you're out there listening to me, you back off.
Back
all right?
off, Benny.
Is
What
it
are
it's that camera, right?
what are you getting into?
You back off.
Why don't you go find some of your, what's the Oklahoma City Thunder mascot?
Where's Mrs. Bull?
There is no. There might be.
There might be.
There
We
should
don't
be.
know. But
you know what that is, Benny? That's bull spit.
He's on the phone. He's calling his friends. He's from New York. He's calling his friends to take care of you right now, Benny. So
Yeah, he knows.
it out.
Knows people in Chicago. Now, you mentioned like when your significant other possibly doesn't want to see Met stuff.
yeah.
Is that possibly involved in the negotiation of like, okay, well, I got to watch this game, so how about to make you happy, I'll close the door and you don't have to have the Met stuff out.
It's a great bobblehead. You should get it. And then City Connect Saturdays. We got the City Connect helmet out. So it's going to be a fun weekend at Citi Field. Sunday, Mother's Day.
Come on, don't blow by. We got Queen's Crew on Friday
I forgot Papa John.
and Sunday. They're going to be rocking around the stadium.
Got Christian Scott one day this weekend.
Got Christian Scott. Make sure you get here early, by the way, on Friday and Sunday. Both night games, by the way. Sunday, for all that don't know, PSA, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. So playing under the bright lights of ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, which will be awesome. The Queen's Crew will be outperforming on the plaza.
Oh, cool.
Around 5:10 to gates opening.
Nice.
So definitely come say hi to them.
Go say hi, then grab a $3 beer at the K Corner.
Oh, yes. Yes. Or maybe in the opposite order. What time does the K Corner start open? Is it 2 hours before first pitch?
I think 2 hours before first.
So you can go to the K Corner, grab a Coors,
$3 course.
and then you can go boogie woogie woogie with the Queen's Crew.
But you can't bring it with you because
You
that's
can't.
public consumption.
Yeah.
But you could go, and then you could go back to the K Corner to grab one more before you go in.
The options are limitless.
We got to hit that K Corner thing before the end of the year. But yeah, fun weekend at Citi Field. Braves are in town. We're going to see how Christian, not only is the litmus test for divisional warfare, but also like it's going to be cool to see what Christian Scott looks like against that Braves lineup, which we've said before could be the best lineup in baseball.
And it's going to be cool to see what song he actually chooses.
Oh yeah, we're just on the edge of our seat waiting for that. Now we're going to try a new thing on this podcast where we're going to shout out one guy from each level of the minor leagues in our Future of Flushing segment.
Yep.
For fans of Future of Flushing, the show is not done. We are just trying to figure out the format right now because it's tough. We did every night last year, and now we do Meet at the Apple, and we do that. So we're just trying to balance worlds. So we want to give people some updates of minor leaguers. So we're going to just run through a few levels of the Mets player development system right now. Why don't we start off with Simone Juan? He went 3 for 8 with a home run in 2 separate games. So big shout out to Simone Juan, who's the guy whose card I've looked at on eBay.
Yeah, he's with the FCL Mets. He was with the FCL Mets last year. Struggled a bit when he was signed by the Mets as an IFA. He was a big-time name, and he's off to a great start. So what we're going to do is we're going to go level by level and tell you a guy to keep an eye on. And we'll do this frequently. So Simone Juan is our FCL Met. I also want to shout out Jeremy Rodriguez, who is, I don't want to say a household name at this point, but if you pay attention to the Mets minor leagues, you probably know the name Jeremy Rodriguez. He was acquired for Tommy Pham. He crushed it in the DSL after he came over to the Mets organization. He's stateside for the first time, and he's already 5 for 11. And if you watch the spring breakout game, which we talked with Christian Scott about, how Blake Tidwell, you simple man, which is just unbelievable. Jeremy Rodriguez, a beautiful, beautiful swing. So a shortstop that Mets fans should be very excited about. Very young, but off to a great start in his stateside debut. Want to now go to the PSL Mets and highlight Austin Tresser, a pitcher that the Mets took in 2023. Tresser is one of many exciting young arms that came from the 2023 draft class. 36 strikeouts in 23 2/3 innings pitched. The ERA 3.04. So him, Cade Morris. There's a lot. Nolan McLean, who you guys know that name, so we're not going to throw that out.
I want to bring up one big name that I was super pumped when I texted you about, Jeffrey Rosa.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rosa, sure.
Dude, Jeffrey Rosa, a guy that we were having so much fun because, Jeffrey Rosa played for the Dominican League last year, and there's not much video of it, so we were just reading box scores every day for the most part, seeing some highlights. This week, Jeffrey Rosa played 3 games in Complex League?
Not even. I think it was 1.
He played one game in Complex League.
He homered. And he got
then
promoted.
He got promoted to the FCL, to the PSL Mets.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's sick.
And the league average age there is 21.
And also, I didn't even bring this up. The reason we were talking about him every night is because he just dominated the league home run record last year.
Yeah, he had 15 big flies last year. That had not been done since at least 1994.
Yeah.
As far as bookkeeping goes back in the DSL. So, yeah, I mean, look, we've seen it. The Mets call up Christian Scott really just 1 month into the season. They promoted Jonah Tong. He had nothing left to prove at all in the Florida State League. They promoted Nick Morabito, who was just, out of control in the Florida State League.
Suero.
Chris Suero, that's right. So it's been awesome to see the Mets willing to challenge the guys that are deserving of these promotions. And you know that they did it again with a very young player who, I don't want to say earned it all last year, but comes over, easy work, home run. All right, let's just move on here. It's time to give this guy a new challenge. So
Yeah, let's talk about Nick LaRusso now.
let's talk about Nick LaRusso, a guy that we interviewed last year when we were down in PSL. Played his college ball at Villanova, go Knicks, and Maryland as well. Had a 100-plus RBI, the first D1 hitter to drive in 100 or more RBI in a season since 2003. So this is a legit bat that we're talking about. Started the year in high A, slashing 364, 422, 655 with 15 RBI in his last 15 games. So the Mets might have found I don't want to say a diamond in the rough with LaRusso, but with college guys, the metal bat, scouts, it's often hit or miss, and the Mets seem to have possibly hit with Nick LaRusso.
Another guy I want to talk about, Matt Rudick, who we recorded an interview with Matt Rudick last year. Unfortunately, went down with an injury about like 3 or 4 days later, so we never got to use the interview, and we talked to him about it at spring training, and he guessed. We were like, hey, sorry, we didn't use it, and he goes, yeah, I got hurt a day later, didn't I? He did. Matt Rudick is off to a great start. He's got a 1.195 OPS in the last 10 games, and he's leading the team in OPS overall right now.
Yeah, I think that Rudick, his stock in the general public at least would have been a lot higher had he not suffered the injury that he did. It was around mid-June when he got hurt. Tried to mount a comeback, was unable to, but I actually saw him around the cages at spring training, said hi to him, asked how he was feeling, and he said he was feeling great, and he's been off to a great start. You mentioned his OPS overall leading the Rumble Ponies, over 800 out of the leadoff spot. This is a guy with elite contact skills. Last year, people questioned if the power was ever going to come, and it's come in bunches. So, like you mentioned, he's been great lately. This is a big-time sleeper prospect in the Mets system. He could play the outfield. He could play all 3 spots, including center field. He's a good defender. He does not strike out much. He's got an incredible eye, and he really, really has found some power. So Matt Rudick is a very exciting prospect who, you talk about guys like Jet Williams and Luis Angel Acuna and Drew Gilbert, and, you go down the list. But Matt Rudick should definitely be on the radar of Mets fans because Matt Rudick, he's legit.
Yeah. One last player to talk about, Ben Gamel.
Ben Gamel. So I want to shout out Colin Hetzler here. Colin Hetzler last year, and we talked with DJ Stewart in spring training, and DJ Stewart mentioned Colin Hetzler without us prompting him to do so as a guy who kind of unleashed or unlocked something in his swing. I believe it was with a bit of a leg kick and a timing thing. Ben Gamel's been a major league player before. He's played for the Brewers. David Stearns knew him from Milwaukee, Seattle. I believe he was in the Yankee system for a little bit as well. And he was a prospect back in the day, as was DJ Stewart, a former first-round pick. And it seems like Colin is working with guys who have the ability, and obviously when you're a high pick like that or when you were a highly regarded prospect, it's because you've got tools. And it's all about harnessing those tools and finding what helps you bring those tools to the forefront. And it seems like Ben Gamel has, whatever he and Colin have worked on, he's found something because Gamel has a 1088 OPS and 112 plate appearances this year. So last year you saw the Mets go down to their AAA system at times. Guys like Abraham Almonte, guys like Rafael Ortega, guys like Jonathan Arauz, guys that weren't on the 40-man roster to start the year. And over the course of a season, you need guys to come up. DJ Stewart was another example of that. And right now, if the Mets need to go to AAA and bring up a bat, Ben Gamel has been incredible. So, props to Ben, of course, who's in the box doing it. And also props to Colin Hetzler, who continues to help out. And, it's just done such a great job as a AAA hitting coach.
Gamel Rays.
Gamma rays.
Gamel Rays.
Well, see, for me, you're a dreidel guy, right?
Dreidel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the letters, a gamel, I think.
If you didn't know, I wouldn't have brought it up.
No, I'm gonna look this up. Dreidel letters. Yeah, I got it. So we got the 4 letters. Oh, it's a gimel. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. It's a gimel.
I feel like I've played dreidel, but I didn't know what all the.
Yeah, you got nun, gimel, hey, shin.
Okay.
Yeah, so you spin the dreidel, gamel, gimel.
Yeah, no, it's close.
If he comes up and he's raking, we're definitely getting a spinning. I don't know.
Not gamma rays.
I mean, that's good too, but it's not as close to gimel, gamel.
Gimel, gamel.
Yeah, gimel, gamel.
Rays.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We got to get out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Please go listen to that interview we did with Christian Scott.
Do we have another interview dropping soon? A special episode of Meet at the Apple?
I'm still waiting. I sent the interview over to the powers that be. You heard us mention this episode briefly in another one. It's coming at some point, maybe.
Okay.
But we have a Judd Apatow interview we got to get out
We
there.
do.
So we got some stuff coming. We have some people we might interview this weekend.
We got some
exciting
celebrities.
stuff.
There might be a new Meet at the Apple wrap.
Maybe a
Could
meet at the
be.
Rapple.
Meet at the Rapple. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Turn on those post notifications for the podcast. That's the way that you know we're live. That's how that Christian Scott interview that went out. If you're like, oh, this is the first time I'm hearing of it, that's how you would have found out.
You can start your morning with us. Drink your coffee.
Yeah.
Eat your eggs.
Yeah.
Listen to these voices.
Just have a nice morning.
Tweet at us. Let us know what you're thinking. We have been getting some tweets.
Apples in the morning.
Apples in the morning. I'm an apple at night guy. Good fiber.
That's a good point. Well, thank you guys for listening. Like I said, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, the Mets YouTube, and we'll see you here at the Apple.
Take care.